evening up at the hospital with mom.
Right.
Um, and I was just like that. You guys are amazing. Like that's amazing that you knew to do that.
Right.
Um,
But I sometimes I wonder because it.
and I was just like that. You
Uh-oh.
guys are amazing. Like that's
Uh-oh. I just wonder if sometimes like if it's if it's enough. Good morning, Ruth. Yeah, thank you for being patient with us. I was late in the first place, and then we were back behind the scenes talking. So, behind the scenes, we were just talking. Um, but I just always wonder, is there like a defining line between, um, between that? Like, is it because what I see sometimes is that people like you were a firstborn, right? And so when you're a firstborn, all the attention is on you in the first place, and then when number two or something comes in, it's like, hello, like I'm still here. And so even though you're in the space, it doesn't mean that you're always like feeling that same level of attentiveness that you did in the first place, which sometimes can set up resentment between siblings, you know?
yeah, yeah. I yeah, my experience was a little different because my mom had me so young, but then she had my sister like right after me.
Mm,
So um and the dynamics were that my grandparents, my mother's parents were always like on me. You know,
mm-hmm,
I was my grandfather's first grandchild. So
mm-hmm.
he just, so when my mom and my father wanted to move away and move in with my dad's parents, my grandparents were like, "Well, she's staying here." And I wish that they had been a little bit more, even more adamant about it. But I understand the um I understand that that's a struggle too because it's her baby and she should be able to take her. I understood that, but yeah, I wish that they had been a little bit more demanding. But
Mm,
so, and there's I have a cousin that is a few months older than I am, and she's technically the oldest, but I am treated as the oldest and
uh-huh.
family. So I had a lot of attention, um, good or bad. But I can see, really could see how that could resonate with me and my little sister. I don't know why. I just thought she was just so precious because that she had a different family. Of course, I don't know this, right? I think my dad is my dad. I'm not aware that this family is not my family. And so I couldn't pay attention, but my mother brought it to my attention. And as I got older looking at pictures, I could see that my sister had these beautiful gala dresses and she just had all of this. She always looked like a baby doll, but that's because her family had a different level of wealth and they just did things different. And but I didn't even pay attention until I started looking at pictures. I just love that's
That's
my
funny.
little sister.
That's funny though, because good morning, thankful, terrific Thursday, Sarika.
Yes, thankful
Darling.
terrific Thursday.
Um,
Good morning.
part of so I think I have told you that I've always felt like the ugly duckling in my family. And my sister, I knew that there was something unequal about the way that we were treated. My sister you've met my sister, right? Naturally born with blue eyes, and she's got that hair and all of that stuff, and people doted on her as if, move that little pickaninny out of the way with my nappy hair and all of that stuff. Ooh, we want to, because people were color struck back then. And so my sister, mom, everybody would buy her clothes, and like she was like I mean, even in high school, she was in the majorettes and the marching band and all of this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting up, she played the flute, she sang, I'm sitting up feeling like, what did God do with me? Right? Like, where is my stuff at? So while you thought yours was, I was like looking at like, well, what did God like on a budget plan with
I was so efforting to be enough
me?
that I couldn't see, I was in, how you look outside of yourself and be like, oh yeah, like, oh, I want to do that. So busy trying to be enough in my area, but it was so that I didn't feel the pinch, the sting, or the comparison that I was having about my siblings and about my life, my journey. I was just so busy trying to measure up that it didn't start until I started dating, which is probably why I'm not a dater, is when I started really starting to feel like comparing myself to other people. Because before I had my own thing, even though I've said my sister, beautiful hair, beautiful body, super intelligent, um, and yeah, and I didn't know the difference until I was, 18, that we had different families. And then once I turned 18 and found out, oh, now all this stuff started making sense. I talks about this in this book. Everything started hitting me. I was just like in a,
Yeah.
but I used to effort so much to be something.
Yeah. So you know what? It's funny because I don't know that I was jealous of my sister. I wasn't jealous of her.
I understand.
But I
Mhm.
noticed that there was unequal treatment. I noticed that when people walked up, they weren't looking at me. I
Yeah, yeah.
noticed those types of things. And so the reason why my friends call me Defiance, and because I always broke the rules, was that was my way of, damn it, I'm
Yeah, you want
Sandra,
to be
damn it.
noticed. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
and
Exactly.
I,
I get
I
that.
that was like how I announced to the world. And even I can remember, I don't know if Sarika, or no, were you were at Kennedy with me. I would dress in ways that were totally different from other people, or at least try to. I had to be, I had to have candy stripes, or I had to, like whatever my little thing was, if it was, wearing gold chains over G'd or whatever it was, I felt like I had to put my stamp on who I was. I remember Jerry, who comes in here, I remember one time Jerry told me that she always had to do something, like she could dress like really perfectly, but she always had to have one thing that was just out of place. It was as if that was kind of like her thing of how she asserted herself. This was way back, I mean 30 years ago or something like that. But I think for all of us, we find our little thing that we do. And I just wonder, because we didn't have a language for it,
Right.
right?
Yes.
We didn't have the language. When he talks about this fear language or whatever, I didn't have a language for it.
Mhm.
I knew how, like, I felt towards the bishops. I don't know that we were a gang, but you couldn't talk about one of us or couldn't do something um negative or bad towards one of us without all of us raising up. It was, what, we raised together and we gonna go down together. um Sarika said, you definitely had your own style, Sandra. I was, and so for all of us, it was, I can remember you said you fought over anything. I would fight over my sister, or, but very rarely did I get into fights. When I was
I
in junior,
didn't fight over anything. I would fight. Like
yeah,
I would fight. If you step to me, I didn't start fights and then I wasn't confronted. I'm still not. But if you step to me and I feel like there's a problem, I'm not getting ready to, and I'm still like that. I don't fight physically, but if it's ridiculous conversation, man, take your belief, go ahead on. I don't got time for that. So now it's just like if you step into me and you look like you want to, I'm going to hit first. I'm gonna always be the one to swing first.
ooh, okay.
That I'm not getting ready to be like, oh wow, what just happened? No, that will be you, not me, not me. That's why my ex-husband says what he says, because I'm like, you too big. You gotta no. Mm-mm. So I
Uh,
don't fight for anything, but if you come to me in a way that feels threatening, I'm just going, let's do this. And we can talk about this afterwards. Like, or bring it down. I even say that to my children. Bring it down. Do you want to have a conversation or do you want to fight? Like, bring it in, bring it down. Cause you don't want her to come back. That's why I used to say to them when
okay.
they were teenagers. You don't want her to come back.
Uh,
They never met her before. They don't believe she existed.
uh,
But yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't know that I have ever, yeah, fighting wasn't my thing. I was always, I mean, yeah, we fought as siblings, but outside of that, I got jumped a few times. Whew,
Hmm.
I got jumped in school a couple times. Um, and it by a bunch of girls. but that was on some other stuff. That was, whatever that was about.
I
But
fought two females my whole life.
really, and all the rest of them were guys.
Boys, little white boys.
Oh, okay. Well, good for you. I just, yeah,
Little white boys.
I didn't actually, when you getting jumped, it's not actually a fight.
It's
It's,
not. It's not even fair.
yeah, it's not a fight. And I got jumped, and a number of people participated in that. So many I didn't even know who it was. I didn't even know who they were. I knew the girl who kicked me in the face,
Hmm.
but I didn't. For the most part, it was just a blur. It was a blur. So,
And it's
yeah,
just so much. Anyway, that's another subject. But that
yeah,
level of anger, I know I was angry. I can admit that. I was angry, and so it was just like, look, don't just stop talking to me, please. My sixth grade teacher put in my autograph book, it is easier to catch flies with honey than with
it's good.
vinegar.
Yeah.
Please remember. She wrote it in my
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Wow.
was an angry little
Yeah.
girl.
And and that's one of the things that I say often, even as I'm watching my niece and nephew grow up now. I was like, we got to trust the process. It's nice to try to. One thing I think that is wrong is when we try to invalidate people's anger.
Hmm.
Not about invalidating their anger. It's about, I think, trying more so to help them understand it.
Or you sit in a state of understanding it, not trying to help them understand it, but even it's more because we come here with understanding and the ability to know and to contain the information that we need for us, but are the big people around us aren't aware to just let me understand why you're angry. Let me understand you, as opposed to saying you shouldn't be angry. You know how we do. You shouldn't be angry. Oh, there's nothing to cry. There's nothing to cry about. Instead of just allowing people to have their emotional experience, and I seek to understand what's happening, and
Mm-hmm.
then offer the how do you think I can help you? Because that way we're teaching little people to have their own understanding, and they get to share with us their level of wisdom. I had two kids, they're 6 years apart. One I raised like I was raised, and the other I raised like I'm talking about right here. And they are so different in life, and how they manage life, and how they manage crises, and how they manage people. It's
Mm-hmm.
just watching that is beautiful. Um, but yeah, like, what are you crying for? What you upset for? Like,
No,
yeah,
yeah, that's not exactly how I approach them. But what I do try to say to them is like, wow, you still there? that's where that's where I'm at. You know, it's like that happened. You said it happened before school,
hmm.
and uh, it's 7 o'clock now.
Are
What
you
else
implying that there's something wrong with that?
what else you need? That's what, no, I'm not implying something is wrong with that, but what else do you need to kind of put that away? Because if
Yes,
don't go, you know how
that's
they
the question.
don't keep going through the anger as if, you know, because
Brand
all
new.
you do is we amplify it. I remember there used to be
Yes.
a guy that I talked to, and there were people who you know, who you could call up, and if you said such and such happened, they'll listen to you, and then it's like, okay, you move on to the next topic. Man, he would drill down on it. Like he would just, and then he would get all revved up too. And then it would be like him and my anger together was just like, damn, it seemed like it gave me validation. And I know who to call when I need somebody to, you know, to go through my stuff over. And I just be like, now when somebody calls me up with some stuff, yeah, I'll sit there with you for a few minutes, and then it's like, whoa, we got to make a shift. Because it's
My
just like,
girl Michelle and I, we are good at that. Like we feel things at at a similar level. And we can go through it. We can have this hard, like if she calls me with something that's paining her, or vice versa, and these powwows, girl, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden we'll just, before we hang up the phone, it's like, okay, and all this, it just, we learn how to, we never made an announcement about it, but we're both clinicians. So we have just learned how to like each of us have our raw emotions about it, support each other in it, validate it. I go there too, because that's my girl. You mess with her, you mess with me. So I got to have my experience about how dare they. And
mhm,
then we do the work of all is well, everything is as it should be.
yeah,
Let's get the lesson.
yes, yes. And that's
What did this
where
come to teach
that's
us?
yeah, that's I think that's what we can do for, you know, for one another, for our friends, and you know, and
Yes.
people that are around us. It's like, okay, I'm gonna help you get this out. Like,
Yes.
because I believe in expressing stuff. Don't
Mm-hmm.
suppress, but express. I
Press.
believe
Mm-hmm.
in that because that is
Yes.
cathartic. That is
Mm-hmm.
so helpful in just trying to, you know, let me get it out there. And even if we, you know, throw it out there and we look through it trying to see what was my part, what was their part, blah, 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 that is so powerful. But I'm not gonna sit in that energy. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'd be like, okay, time's up. Time's up. All right, now I need to transform this,
Mm-hmm.
because one of the things that I know is that every time there's a problem, the solution arrives at the exact
That's it.
time. But if we're
Yes.
so busy looking
That's so
at
true.
the problem, we
Yes.
can't see the solution come up.
Yes. It's always right there.
We
Mm-hmm.
can't see the blessing. You know, every
Mm-hmm.
lesson, there's a blessing. And we
Mm-hmm.
can't see it if we just focused in on what's wrong.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, so here we go. We got to pivot. Come on,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
yeah, that's how I like to.
And if I'm always talking about everybody, but that is my heart space. That's what I came on this planet to feel. Like if everyone could experience that, oh, what a world we would have. Like if we could just like have the accident, and then know we all have the assurance. We do have the assurance that there's a better experience on the other side of it.
You,
It's true.
yeah, but a lot of people though, some people don't have a better experience, or it takes them a while to have that epiphany moment. That was one of those things that I liked about that one movie. It was, what was it, Urban Cowboy movie or something like that, that came
Oh,
on
I never seen
long
that.
ago. And these folks had stables and stuff in the city, and the one kid who was angry about about life, everything, he was in there cleaning out the stable, and he asked the guy who was in the wheelchair telling him what to do. He was like, how did you end up in that wheelchair? And he was like, well, fighting over something that wasn't even mine.
Some many people have repeated that line. That must have been a very powerful part in that movie.
And the fact that the young man who played the role, it was actually happened to him. So they had actors in the movie who were, I think it's in Philadelphia, who were actually the cowboys that they were speaking about. And this was actually his real experience. Wasn't him acting, or he was reacting or playing his part for the movie, but it was actually his life.
Wow.
So it has even greater of an impact to just think about what it is that we do over stuff that it doesn't even matter in the long run. I mean,
Mhm.
people get killed over a pair of
Mhm.
shoes that'll in 6 months be out of style.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? There'll be a new pair on the market. I mean, people don't recognize the damage that can be done because we aren't conscious about what we're doing in the moment.
Mhm.
One of the things that in this book that I am still reading, seems like I've been reading it for a long time, The Realm of the Hungry Ghost. In the
Oh,
Realm.
you Mhm. Mhm.
He talks about how um, either sometimes it's past life stuff, but sometimes it's our current life stuff. He says that what we do is especially as babies, when we don't get the attention that we need, or when we don't get the things that we need, even the stress that a mother is under, the stress in a house, the stress, whether the baby is present or it's still in vitro, that stress can cause somebody else to have stress and have so much more of a need to figure out how to get that stress up off of them.
Yes.
So whether it's expressed in addiction, or whether it's expressed through combativeness or the drama that people create. We all know somebody who is so dramatic, almost like they got their own atmosphere that goes with them, right? We all know somebody that's like that. And so he says that, that these things, the past is influencing where we are, And so sometimes we don't see the ability, or we don't see the other side of it, because we go through stress on top of stress. Now, this is a little off the subject, but for some reason, I got a neighbor who just got a new car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so every time I look out the window, why is she out there sitting in the car? I mean, I was looking at her last night and she's sitting in the car looking through a magazine. And I'm thinking, have her go in the house. Like,
What?
what, what's wrong with going in the house?
What's wrong with sitting in the car?
I wake up this morning, she in the car again. She in that car. It's been a week. It's like, girlfriend, get
You don't know her narrative.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So it's so funny because when people find their comfort, their spot, right? Some people sit in the bathroom for 3 and 4 hours. Then on the toilet, doing what?
Yes.
Bathroom, it's like, oh, I've been sitting here long enough that I need to go again. The house is like stress filled and drama
Come
filled.
on. Yes.
Out how to deal with the stuff that's going on in your home instead of hiding out in your car.
I don't know if I agree with that.
You, you don't know if you are. Now, how could you not agree with that when it's your job to help people figure out how to get from under their stress?
When she wants to figure that out, she'll come to me. But while she's in it, she's she's navigating her journey to find her comfort space. That's what it is. I mean, I can't sit in the seat of judgment because we don't know the narrative. We don't know.
I don't. She could have a stressful house.
And you may hit the nail right on the head.
The car is not the place to work it out. But
you don't.
She
could be in there reading a book on how to de-stress her house. Okay.
I should have me a pair of binoculars so I can see her shoulder. She's just sitting in the car. It's like, girl, go in the house. I just want to go over there.
That's not her happy space.
But you know what?
And then she'd be like, you go in your house.
Right.
Don't let me stress you out.
The funny thing is that sometimes I can look out here out this window and I can see stuff out there. And then when I close my little blinds at night, I see her. Or when I'm doing, it's like, go in the house. Go in the house. But whatever. But you know what? This friend of mine's told me that he had some problems in his marriage because he said one night, he says usually he sits in the car. He said he used to just drive home from work, and he said he would just sit in the car because he needed time to decompress. And he said one night he fell asleep in the car. And his wife assumed that he stayed out all night. So when he came walking in the house in the morning, he was trying to say, no, I was outside. I was right outside. And she was like, oh, she let him have it. He ended up getting a divorce, but it was a big thing, him and that sitting in the car. There's a guy around the corner that sits out.
My son sits in his car because he has 2 children and his partner in a 1-bedroom apartment right now. And it drives her crazy that he sits in the car, but he'll come out and sit in the car and call me or his brother, just to have a peace. And then he'll go back in so we can see the kids and stuff. But it burns her up. She comes out to the car and he's like, and she could sit in the car too, but she want me all in her business. I don't want to be in her business. But
drives her nuts because she was like, if I'm in this, you should be in this too.
It's 24 hours in a day. And so if you sit in your car for 2 hours of the 24 hours, that is your human right to have that level of peace.
She did not sit in that car before she got this new car. That other car she had, the red car she had, she wasn't sitting outside. Now she's sitting in the car.
So what's your hypothesis?
I got nothing on it. I'm just like saying, go in the house, woman. Go in the house. I got nothing. I don't know what there's only 4 of them in the house, right? there's only 4 of them in the house. And I don't know what the deal is, but it's
You could be having somebody on emotional punishment right now. And so she's withdrawing herself from them to make them suffer.
what you say, is that a passive aggressive kind of suffering? I'm gonna go sit in the car and read my book. I'm gonna sit in the car and look at
I'll
this.
remove my energy from you.
Ah.
Call it emotional punishment. That's what I call it.
All right, so we left off here where with this idea about the core language, and yesterday we was talking about that Mark went through this thing about identifying a core language through his ability to listen and discern what is being said in the midst of while people are talking. And he says that at one point he says that healing trauma is kind of like writing a poem to him, because in writing a poem, word selection is major. It's not just about it rhyming, but it's about all the nuanced meanings that a particular word can have. So when you get the right words, it resonates with you. It becomes, oh, that's my language, right? Or it could be something that you've heard yourself say over and over again throughout, through when you were younger, and now that you're older, whatever it is, it could be something that has always lived in you, or a feeling that's always lived in you. And so he was talking about how powerful it is to get this core language approach. And he said by asking specific questions, he can help people discover the root cause behind some of the physical and emotional symptoms that they may have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he says it not only exposes the trauma, but it also unveils tools and images needed to heal. Some stuff we have that we don't even think about anymore. I don't want to say we pushed it down, but there was this lady, I had gone to hear a speaker one time, and she came into the auditorium, and as she was talking about stress and trauma and all of this stuff, she was saying, and she pointed to me, and and I was with Alan at the time. She pointed at me and Alan, and she says, because they're Black, they have way more stress that you guys couldn't even imagine. And I was like, who are you talking about? Like, I ain't stressed. And she was like, oh, if you're not stressed, it's only because you're not admitting it. You can't own it. She was like, but by nature of your, of what you and your, culture has experienced here, your stress level is, like 20 times that most of these kids even know about or can even wrap their brains around. And
that's the PTSD in us.
Yeah, there was this part of me that was just sitting up there saying, how you gonna, point me out in this audience and talk about my level of stress? Heifer, you don't know stress. You don't know this, that, and the other. And I got, and I was like, there was a part of me that was just so resistant to her trying to use me and him as an example. I was just like thinking to myself, they busy even this, trying to make me less than. I was like so angry, but it was, after I walked away from that, I started thinking about how much we do carry in our bodies, and we've been carrying it for so long
Yes.
that it's just
generations.
We are. Yeah.
Yes. And here's your telltale sign from now on. Whenever you are reactive, you have uncared for stress.
Oh.
our sign.
Thank you.
That's all of our signs. We have untreated, uncared for stress. And as people of color, we do. We do.
Yeah.
From the police officers to let me say this. So I just saw on the news. I don't watch the news, so I'm flying by and I watch, and I saw this news report of a lunch aide. I have to do my work around it because even me telling you, I'm getting irritated. A lunch aide having a African American student in a predominantly white school threw her lunch trash, and the lunch aide went and got the trash out, got the food out the trash, and the principal made the girl eat it. I don't know what grade she's in. It was elementary. She's a little person. And now for the rest of her life, she's got to unwind that crap. Like, it's just, yeah, we do have stress. It's amazing to me. Like,
Miss Barker, my second grade teacher. Whew, girl, you could just iron her out. She was so wrinkly, white lady. And oh my gosh, she was just horrible.
Oh my goodness. So,
And I don't know that our parents had the ability to push back on them.
yeah, I wonder if it was her parent that called for the video to be played. Like, I was just like, I'm so grateful whoever did it. I just started giving him praise. I started sending them so many good vibes because they caught it on video. So I don't know if she came home and told her mama, and her mama went to the superintendent and said, I want the video, because they have it in the lunchroom, the cafeteria video. I was just like, and now this little person has got to unravel that. She's got to make meaning and sense of all of that. And if we're telling her to be kind to all mankind, which is true, but how do I reconcile this experience?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, wait, it's just this trickle down, this drip,
But
drip, drip, drip,
I mean,
drip.
it could be too, though, because secondary trauma is real. It could be too that somebody else went home and said, Mama, you know what happened.
Yes.
No, you know what?
Yes, because she did go and sit back at her table, and then a little white principal came over there, standing over her, with the garbage food in front of her. It was ridiculous. And yeah, somebody at that table could have said, they made little Susie eat food from the trash. And because I was a part of my mom, my granddaughter don't eat food. She doesn't like everything.
She have the right to throw her own food away. I mean, could you imagine that? Say, for instance, you're a child that Muslim, you're not supposed to eat pork, and they gave me a hot dog. I'm gonna walk over to the trash and throw it away, right? I don't even need to guess whether or not I'm going to eat it or not. It just could be something I don't eat. Oh, that's terrible. Anyway, ooh, girl. Okay, so
say we do have it in us, and it's just that's what we're here to say. We are that's what this moment is about. It exists. Yes.
So he says our core language insists on being heard. It fights its way up through us. And the things that we go through in life are those things that are going to bring that out and bring it front and center for us to deal with, because our goal is to heal, that our goal is to be safe, to heal, do whatever it is in order to get us there. Stephanie is like, yes. So along the way, it says we are likely to meet family members that may still be alive, or they may have passed on a long time ago. It could be people that we didn't even know about, or something or else. But he says that some have even been dead for years. But here's the line to get me: some aren't even related to us. like that principle, right? Some aren't even related to us, but their
Mhm.
suffering or their cruelty may have altered the course of not just our lives, but our family's life, right? And if you could imagine back in enslaved times, that there were people who weren't your blood, people who were not related to you, that have impacted you in ways that will long be felt, for centuries.
Generations after generations.
Yes,
Oof.
yes. Um,
It's
it was interesting in that one book that I read, it was talking about, in mice, they did these experiments where, if a mouse went for a particular type of food, like say for instance, they put carrots in there. If they went for a particular type of food and they gave them a shock treatment when they went to try to get the carrot, its offspring up to, I think it said 40 generations did not touch carrots. And so, if you can imagine for 40 generations, and I know that mouse generations are much shorter than ours are, but, but for 40 generations, that means baby after baby after baby after baby. They did not touch that. And so, when you think about it from that perspective, that stuff can live for centuries.
Mhm.
The residual memory lives in our things. So she says we might even uncover a secret, or two hidden in the stories that have long been laid to rest. Stuff that we wouldn't even think would influence us. But when we sit in something,
Uh,
I'll say it that way. Yeah. When we sit in something, even if it is something that has happened in your family line and you didn't think that it was a major deal, just sit in that and think about how you might possibly process having to eat something out of the trash that you decided you, I mean, this is something, if she didn't want that food, right? And now you're made to eat it, sit there and eat it.
and you're gonna take it out the trash and wipe it off. So you knew it was dirty
You don't have agency over your own choices.
in 2022.
In 2022, we didn't have agency over our choices back
Yeah.
when. And now all of a sudden, no, I'm not making it seem like it's all of a sudden. And now we
Right.
still don't. Come on.
Yes.
What is that saying? And the fact that we've got to confront that and fight that is like, crazy. So she said, so he says, but regardless of where this exploration takes us, my experience suggests that we arrive at a new place in our lives with a greater sense of freedom in our bodies and our ability to be at more peace with ourselves. And so that's the whole goal here, is how do I find peace in my life? How do I get to a place um where I know myself anew, right? Where I get to see all of this stuff as it comes up. 70, I know you don't watch a lot of stuff, right?
Hmm.
But there is for some reason, when I start watching stuff, sometimes I try to power through it, even when, like, there's
Hmm.
things that I just like, yeah. So there is this show that is called Them. And when I first started watching it, I did not know that it was supposed to be scary. Or what do I want to say? It's not, it's, I didn't know. I didn't know, right? But it was about a Black family who moved into a white neighborhood. And so there's been a lot of stuff that's going on. And it it showed just I've been watching it for months and I'm trying to get to the end. And so every once in a while I'll turn it back on and watch an episode. And they finally showed the trauma that this woman had gone through. And this family's way in which they are dealing with it. And it's really hard for me to watch. There is there's anger because I know that it comes from someplace. A lot of times we try to think that some evil genius made up these movies, but they come from someplace, right? It's not
It's art, somebody's revelation, somebody's experience, some story. Yeah, it's a narrative, someone's narrative.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then how that might manifest if it was, if it's not addressed or if it's not dealt with, how that then informs our lives as we go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So let me say that I talk about the woman sitting in her car. 2 years ago, I was out working in my backyard. Y'all know I stay in the hood. 2 years ago, I was out working in my backyard and I didn't really hear the gunshots, but I did hear some of the sirens and the aftermath. And when I walked out, because I was outside, um, I walked up front and I look up the street where all the bad stuff happens. It's always on the next block. I look up the street and there were two people that had been sitting in the car that somebody walked in front of the car, shot into the car and killed them both. I got a thing about people sitting in the car. As a matter of fact, when people come to pick me up, it's like, yeah, don't sit out there in the car. It's like you pull in the back, or I'm gonna leave the fence open so you can pull in the back. But there's don't just sit in the car. So whenever I see people sitting in the car, I want to know, why are you sitting in the car? Like, but why are you sitting there in the car? What you waiting on? That's part of my, that's part. And I realize I haven't always been like that. I think it's, because
Yeah.
I've heard about so many people. My cousin got shot and killed sitting in his car at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
There was people, on the next block over, somebody shot into the car. And it's just like, why are you sitting in the car? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Her yard ain't fenced in. It's like people could just, you don't, why are you sitting in the car? Right? So yeah, we got all kind of ways of dealing with our trauma.
Manage your anxiety. It's gonna be okay.
I rubbed my niece's hair the other day. We were sitting someplace and she told me, she says, I ain't no puppy. I ain't no cat. I was like, girl, where'd that come from?
That's what it feels like to her, but that's weird. But I mean, that's not weird, but I get it. But yeah, I was sitting here when you were talking about it, and I was actually saying to my highest self, oh, that's a trigger for her. I wonder what that's about. Like, so but I'm your friend, not your therapist, so I just listen.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad you processed that while we were doing it. It's
Yeah.
like, what is that?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Hey, good Thursday morning to you, Everett. Yeah.
Good morning, Everett.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense now. I mean, I knew there was a reason, but now it's like, oh, okay. That's
Yeah. It's too many people get shot up in their car. I mean, it's like, I'm sure. But yeah, it's like, go in the house, lady. Go Anyway, okay, so that's a full circle, I guess.
That was good though. That was good. You did
Mhm.
it. Yes. I'm okay. I'm
Ah,
okay. It's all good. I'm
yeah,
okay.
it's Thursday. I'll process this in yoga this week. Just let it exit my body.
Yes.
So, did you have yoga this morning?
No, that's Tuesday mornings.
Tuesday mornings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that on tomorrow we can start in this part one,
Chapter 1.
family trauma. So I'm excited about this. This is the chapter that Stephanie has taken in a couple of times over, and we're ready to go through and process this with you guys. So I'm excited.
I am too.
So we will be here, chapter 1, paragraph 1, all day tomorrow.
And so it is. That's okay.
Look, it could
That's
be
okay.
chapter 1, first 2 sentences tomorrow.
Right.
Uh, yeah. So yes, we will be here tomorrow. God willing, and
Yes,
rise. So I thank you
absolutely.
so much.
Thank you all. This was delicious. Have an
Uh,
amazing Thursday. Keep my niece in your prayers, the one who lost her dad. His memorial is today. So we're just going to be surrounding her with love, 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 love. And
yes.
so,
My aunt just had surgery on Tuesday. And it had me thinking this morning about the power of 8 once again. And
mm,
just I've been sending her healing energy and light. And then I thought to myself, like, that power of 8 is so powerful. So I was thinking about that once again. So
was
I
a good
have
book.
I have to consider that. So thank you.
Right?
Prayer warriors activate is what that is.
Yes.
Yes. So yes,
All
we
right. Thank you
like.
all.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have an amazing rest of your day.
You too. All right. So yeah, it is that time for us to go, recognizing that all things are working for our good. We accept it as so. I am so grateful for this and so much more. And thank y'all for even in this processing my stuff with me. This is great work, and I hope you're doing the work for you too. Right? What's your core language? What's your, what fears are you dealing with? What triggers set you off? All of those things. What comes up for you as you're watching this? Don't look away. And if you need to get, a journal and kind of keep track, I think that it would be a powerful experience for all of us when we just pay attention. So I invite you along on this journey, like, of healing and light and all of that love. All right. So blessings to you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. And yeah, pay attention to what comes up. This is not just about us and pointing the finger and saying, this girl, but this is also about looking inward. So be conscious, be aware. All right. Be love and light, because that's what you are. All right. I'll see you. See you. Bye. 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 Bye.